Chapter 51, Sephi. If only I could stop my mind from spinning. If only I could just shut out everyone and everything for just a few hours. Just long enough to get some sleep so that I could think clearly afterward. But I couldn't switch off. After 2 fruitless hours of tossing and turning and counting everything from sheep to ring-tailed lemurs, I gave in and sat up, as wide awake as I'd ever been. I glanced at the silver clock on my bedside table, a 14th birthday present a few months ago from my father. A present he'd probably never even seen. It was still quite early. I'd gone to bed early, mainly because Mother had insisted, but even the regular beat of the second-hand counting away time couldn't lull me off to sleep tonight. Thank goodness Mother was okay. She was still packing away her shopping when the explosion went off. Glass from the center was everywhere, scattered across most of the car park, and Mother was in a mad panic, screaming out my name over and over. The moment she saw me, she rushed toward me and gave me a hug that lifted me right off my feet. But we were okay, which is more than could be said for a lot of poor people still caught inside the Dundale when the bomb went off. We should see if we can help, I'd said. No way, we're leaving now, at once, Mother insisted. And no amount of arguing on my part could change her mind. She wanted to put as much space between us and the Dundale Center as she could as fast as possible. I wasn't sure about the wisdom of her driving us home, but we'd managed to get back home okay. Mother then insisted on checking me over properly, but apart from a bruise on my forehead and a couple of grazes on my knees and hands, I was fine, outside. Inside, I couldn't get it out of my head that Callum had known about the bomb. He'd probably saved my life, but I almost wish he hadn't. Almost. With a sigh, I got up and headed downstairs to the kitchen. There had to be something I could do to help me to sleep. A glass of warm milk, perhaps. Mother was in her room and Minnie was away, spending the weekend with her best friend. The kitchen was dark and silent and strangely comforting. I got myself a glass from one of the cupboards and headed for the fridge. The moment I opened it, I was instantly flooded with light. What to drink? Warm milk or cold orange juice? And the fridge door was half a bottle of Chardonnay. I took out the bottle and swirled it around the golden liquid. My mother lived in this bottle, and others like it. She was probably upstairs now, drinking to forget today's events, drinking to forget a lot of things. After a moment's hesitation, I poured myself just enough to cover the bottom of the glass. The first sip almost made me gag. It tasted like refined vinegar. What did Mother see in the stuff? I took another sip. After all, there had to be something to it if Mother liked it so much. Another sip, then another, and another. I poured out a bit more, half a glassful this time. I drank slowly but steadily. By the time I'd finished, Chardonnay didn't quite taste so bad, and it made me feel funny, pleasant inside, sort of warm and squishy. Pouring out a whole glassful, I headed back to the bedroom. I sat up in bed, sipping at my wine, feeling very grown-up as I let it wash over me and through me and into me. My head started to sway from the inside out, backward and forward, rocking me gently. At least I put down the empty glass and curled into bed. This time I didn't even have to think about trying to sleep. This time I left the world behind the moment my head touched the pillows, and I slept like a log.